So the three motivational categories that we're trying to do. So in the whole personal injury attorney communication, specifically with the video news, with this infomercial, is you don't want to just talk to them. So we do want to offer valuable information. That's important. You don't want to just give information that you think they may like, or trivia, or there's too much information out there today, and there's too many sources for them just to tie into you. So you have to be very specific. And the problem that chiropractors and most business owners have is they're afraid to be specific. They want to be generous because they're afraid they're going to lose business if they say, I do this specifically or this specifically. They're afraid they're going to lose this other business. And what they don't understand is they're never going to get any of that business being a generalist. And so it affects you negatively in too many ways. So when you give valuable information, it's got to be specifically relevant to the primary needs of your target market. So that is major. And we do that in this, and I'm going to be explaining that here in just a second. It's one of the major components. So number one, you want to offer valuable information. Number two, you want to solve their conscious or unconscious primary pain-based needs. Now that's huge. And so the content that we give needs to be centered around what is the highest motivating factor. Well, the highest motivating factor of every human being is their primary needs. And so it's the same with attorney. Attorneys have three primary needs relative to what they do. It's the money they don't want to lose, it's money they want to make, and it's time that they save. Those are the three primary needs of attorneys. And overwhelmingly, the loss of money is the absolute highest. And so the whole communication of valuable information is you supporting with what you can do with your financial drivers to help stop them from losing money. That's the whole category of topic that should be discussed. This is not just random. It's very specific, affecting your target markets, in this case, the personal injury attorney, primary motivating factors. If you're not talking about that, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. So it creates the reality that you are the perceived source. And to relieve that painful need, now remember, this could be conscious or unconscious and relative to the attorney's perspective. Most of the time it's unconscious, because if it was conscious, they would go to act on it. And so you're pointing these things out. And so you want to create the reality that you are the only perceived source to relieve that painful problem or need. That is the core right there. You want to make sure you offer valuable information. What's the definition of valuable? Well, valuable is relieving their primary needs. That's the definition of valuable. Number two is solve their conscious or unconscious pain-based needs. And most of them are unconscious. Don't talk about pleasure-based. It's pain-based. And most of them are unconscious, that they're not even aware of, that's hurting them. And then, of course, you are the most cost-effective and trusted. Now, trusted just happens as a byproduct of you just regularly educating the attorneys through these video infomercials. So the byproduct just naturally kind of occurs, and then you become the most cost-effective. So the core of the personal injury attorney marketing is really tapping into their unconscious perceived needs of pain, the money they're losing, sharing that information, that's what will motivate them. Now, what gets them to refer you the business as opposed to somebody else, you're the one that's solving the problem. Other people aren't offering them solutions to the problems you're showing them. So that's what creates the motivation in the first place. And then secondarily, because you're the one that's giving the solutions after you're pointing out the problems, you become the solution. And essentially, you become the only solution. And that's exactly how you want this structured in the mindset of the attorney. They have a problem, you bring it to their awareness, and you're the solution, and they don't know of anybody else that's even talking or relating about these kinds of problems, and therefore they don't know of anybody else to refer the business to, and therefore if they referred that business to those other providers, whatever, they now risk. Now that's painful, because now they're risking losing the money because they don't know if those providers can do what you have the ability to do. That's the key right there. Those three components are the absolute key to not only stimulating the referrals, but getting them to come to you instead of other people.